We're back with Mr. Tech Tony. Today, we're just going to go through a bit of an update on some of the new features within all of the AI platforms. We're going to talk a little bit more about the analytics that it can do in perspective to market reports and a few of the AI startups and PropTech startups that are coming out of the space that, again, we've got to obviously be a little bit more vigilant in the sense of what is coming down the pipe. As far as AI startups and PropTech startups that might affect the industry in some way, shape, or form. Not much at the moment, but we talk about most of the AI startups being in the predictive analytics side of things, predicting values of properties. Hopefully this helps. Welcome to Rethink Real Estate. My name is Ben Brady, and this is a real estate podcast aimed to deliver sales strategies, marketing tips, and business insights from industry experts and myself to build a listing-focused business for the future. Let's get into it. Well, folks, Tech Tony's back. How are you, mate?
I'm excellent, actually, especially considering it's June gloom here in California. I always complain that it's not sunny enough. And my wife gets very irritated with me because we've been here for 30 years. And she says, it's always like this. And then eventually it'll get too hot. Then I'll be complaining in July and August. It's like, it's just too hot here. When's it going to cool down?
Well, do you know what? Do you know the funny thing? To give anybody, like, again, everybody that isn't in Southern California is like, cry me a river, get your little violin out. But Tony and I are going to bitch about Southern California for a moment here. Is that I've gotten into cycling, and the other morning I got up and I'm starting to go for rides earlier and earlier just because I just don't like anybody around when I do it.
Right.
And because primarily that if I go tits up and I can't clip out of my bike is I don't want anyone to see it. But the thing is that I've been riding earlier, and as it's been getting warmer, there's a lot more bugs. So the other day I got hit in the eye by a bug, and it just really hurt because I'm not wearing my sunglasses because it's too dark out because there's no fucking sun because it's doom gloom, Tony. So I've gone and bought myself a pair of glasses, and it's bullshit, by the way. Oakley charged more for a pair of glasses that don't have any like sort of effect like of keeping the sun out of your eyes than they do for a pair that do.
Wow. So the vision is in my head. So are you wearing that little spandex outfits? Are you wearing just like a regular guy's outfit, which are sweats, gray sweats? What are you wearing?
Lycra, and you're welcome, Tony, for the visuals.
Oh man, you gotta be careful about those bugs. I just saw, I'm not sure if this is real. Again, I cannot confirm it. Some billionaire was playing polo. He swallowed a bee and he died.
Calista said the same thing. It was Prince Harry's friend or something.
Did that really happen?
Yeah. Well, again, I don't know whether it really happened, but Calista saw the same thing.
I've swallowed a bee before. I don't want to die.
Our dog yesterday, our small little Yorkie that your dog would literally eat in one bite. He stepped on a bee, and the world was ending. The world was ending.
Jeez.
But mate, I guess getting into the theme of AI, I wanted to sort of just get a bit of a product update from you. Like, what do we got going? What do we got from a new perspective? I want to make sure that on a monthly basis we sort of circle back to what is ChatGPT, what is Claude, what is all the stuff, what are the video options, what's happening out there from a new update product wise, because things move so quickly in this space that is there anything that we should be aware of, anything that we can use?
Yeah, so it changes every month. It's still a massive blur. So the big thing that happened is Google has taken the mantle again with video. It's called VO, and it is amazing. It's like still small. You can. It's one of these things that when I did see this, it's so close to real. You'll probably have seen some clips. There was this person showed that this kangaroo was trying to get on an airplane, and it showed it panning into the kangaroo while she's talking to the person at the desk there. Looked real. Everyone thought it was real, but it was all made up by these AI the videos. So that's and then they recreated the Choctaw lady and with some other girls and they just had all these little clips. And then what's nice is that they're able to keep the same actor throughout. So implications for Hollywood, and if I were having studio, I'd be or actors and actresses be very, very concerned. That is just stellar. The AI.
So just so that for clarity for me, so what is Google's product again? What is it called? Claude?
No, that's Anthropic. Gemini is Google's.
Gemini. So what you do, you just prompt it to create a video and it creates it for you. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So OpenAI has their video one, which is Sora, and that's part of the program. Veo just came out with their program. It's like $200 for it. You don't get that many inputs, but from what people have utilized it's pretty amazing. And again, you have to think about too. Google Smart Shop, they obviously own YouTube, so they have all this data to train these models and to get going. Even though I believe OpenAI tries to take it.
Mm,
But then that's one of a few that, and all these other just following suit. So that the video thing was like really, really hot. And then just from the features, like OpenAI just they had the project folders. They just implemented voice, so you can talk to your project folders now. I keep on bringing this up. A lot of people don't. I mean, for me, it's like amazing. I create folders, intelligent folders for everything that I do. So in
right.
real estate, I got my intelligent folder for income properties, for my health. And now, before you could just type it in, or you just do record your voice and it does it. Now you can have the actual conversation with your chat with OpenAI in your folder itself to then communicate and have just it's amazing for me
Yeah.
just to be able to actually have the conversation is cool. And then the big thing too is that now there's a thing called vibe coding, and a lot of programmers are not programming anymore. They're instead trusting the machine, and they
Right.
call it vibe coding. And so OpenAI just purchased. There's a few out there called Replit, Windsurf, Cursor, and they just bought Windsurfer. So we're going to start to see is you're going to start to see these, and then of course Johnny Ives has joined. I think the game like here just take
Yeah.
$100 billion and just do whatever you want to do.
They
So
did say that that's probably going to be a device or something like that, like an Alexa or something like that, like a home device that they're going to be
yeah.
building that with AI
Oh.
capability. That's what again, that's the chatter out there in the sense of why Johnny Ives, for those that don't know, was one of the, like, he was Steve Jobs' right hand to the
He's gotten
design of
fat.
iPhone
Did
and
you see
everything.
him? He's
Yeah,
gotten a little
huge.
big.
Yeah, he's a
He's
bit.
enjoying it. A little bit of the
Yeah.
extra foie gras or whatever, the butter on everything.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about that. But I just want to rewind and double click on a couple of features here that we can sort of talk to practicality here for a moment. It was funny, Calista, the other day, there was a Mike Green who was here, and this was a couple of months ago. Sorry, it wasn't the other day. He's got this picture of a leopard, and all she did and he was asking like, oh, we want to get somebody to like automate it, and make it like move. And she's like, no problem. Uploaded it to ChatGPT, and then then she asked it to make the image and move, and it moved, and blah blah blah, whatever. I was just wondering, and I was thinking through my mind the practicality of a video. Could you upload your real estate, the property photos, and could you ask it to create an interactive video? Now, again, not
Mhm.
something where it's just stapling all of the images together, but could it actually like move through the home based on the photos? Do you think it could do something like that?
It's getting there. So CapCut, which is the number one video editor, it's kind of on par with Canva. I'm not sure if you use CapCut or not. They
Right.
just had a whole faceless video prompting with AI built in that I'm going to start to try out, and it creates a whole screenplay. So you could give it some guidance, and a lot of times what we do is what I'll take the engine, I'll put the pictures that I have, and I'll have ChatGPT analyze it, and it gives me the theme of the
Right.
photos, and it can recreate that. And you can say, okay, here's the foundation, here's the framework, and based upon the prompting, go ahead and create that screenplay or that quick faceless video. It's getting easier to do that. It's just because video editing is a big pain in the ass.
Oh, but
And
the biggest pain in the ass. It's
yeah,
it's it's
yeah.
huge. Yeah.
But it's so CapCut just released that. It's on my whole list of things to look at and to see if because we use some type of different. What would we use here? Look on my site.
So
IO
i-
is what we use.
in video, is that what it's called?
Yeah, InVideo.io is one of the leaders in what. So they do the faceless videos. Example, we're doing some SEO enabled area shots and kind of what is around our real estate. So I went in with my camera. I took some quick shots around the neighborhood, dropped it in video, used it at 9 to 10 seconds, and then it created the whole. We just used ChatGPT. We had our script, AI spoken, and then just to the back. I mean, it did a great little job. So it's going to be posted on social and also our website for SEO.
So other things that are out there in the community at the moment is from an AI perspective, is also the part of this that I've been seeing as well is that now ChatGPT is getting really, really good with the like taking photography, and it can do virtual staging. Like if you ask it to do certain things based on a photo, but then also search by image as well. Google's been doing that for a while now, but now
Right.
with the release of Apple, they're saying that you can do that through your photos also. So a couple questions here is that first and foremost is that virtual staging. I'd love to get your opinion of that with photos as well and the way that it can work. Second to
Right.
that is that the new release of the Apple's new, they're calling it 2026. They're trying to do like now the years or whatever it is. Is there
Right.
anything from an integration perspective that we can see coming down the pike for agents?
Right. So for virtual staging, absolutely, you could have ChatGPT do that. The question is how good it will look and how
Right.
realistic, and then the control to actually keep it, because you have to be careful of what you do. Right. A lot of times, I don't know. That's a good question. I've yet to see a staging like ChatGPT, because I create stuff with ChatGPT all the time. I'm helping a dear friend of mine write his lifelong book, and he had an idea of a stress bottle, and he gave me he sketched it out. I dropped it into ChatGPT, gave it a description of what it was, and it created it perfectly for in his mind. It was illustrated everything, and it was interesting to see that. So you just sketch it out, and it will create it based upon the sketch and the way you prompt it.
Right.
So you could do that. The thing is it's going to change the way it looks. So from a real estate perspective, you have to obviously disclose that this is all virtually staged. But then on top of that, you're going to
Does
have
it
to
change the
disclose.
fundamentals? Yeah. Does it
It
change the
might,
design? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it might move the window. It's like, oh, that doesn't look good. Let's make the window smaller, or have it over there, or let's
Right.
have a beach background where it doesn't exist.
Can you prompt it not to change things?
You can, but it starts getting out of control,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
it's getting a little bit better. There are some. I do use some like Art Flow. I created a whole bunch of AI images. It's more geared towards people. I haven't seen it. Actually, it was interesting. I have not seen it focus on a house. If you were to
Okay.
get a few images, that's a good idea. We should take this out right now and don't share this with anyone, because that's actually a really good idea. Instead of
Well, mate,
having a person have the house as the model and
there
then
you go.
create the whole thing. That's $1 million idea right there, Ben.
Well, I think that, but there's a part of this as well that there's so many ideas moving to this extent that I think that people are afraid to create their own ideas with the AI stuff, because they think that by the time that it's created that it's going to be vanished. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no. I mean, right now, everyone is trying to figure it out. Because I'm part of professional groups and I get to speak to these groups, very smart people. Half of them are all attorneys. Well, attorneys can be smart and also dumb.
Yeah.
But a lot of professionals, right? So meet with them, speak on the topic. They're all trying to figure out what's going on. I had one of a dear friend of mine who's a group leader. She's a financial planner, amazing financial planner, and we were having a frank conversation. She shared that one of her clients, who's 85 years old and is very wealthy, is no longer using her services of financial planning, and part of that is because she can use ChatGPT. And
Mm.
then, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, yeah, I could totally see that. I was really surprised an 85-year-old will do it, because I know some 85-year-olds, and that's can be some challenge, but you can totally do it.
Well, Tony, just a few little, and I've shared this story before, is that I projected out based on our investment positions at the moment, a 30-year timeline in order to be what my net worth would be by the time if we just kept the investments that we had at the moment going, and then adjusted for inflation, everything, and ChatGPT did a great job. But the other day I used that just myself and a partner of ours is looking at doing a storage unit, like developing a self-storage development up on the coast of Oregon. We had an opportunity came up, plans were already done, and the owner had already done a feasibility study with one of the biggest self-storage feasibility companies in the US. So that was a 169-page document that we got given to go, basically, this is why you should do it. This company's saying it's amazing. And I've got the attention span of a goldfish. So I put it into ChatGPT and I basically said, summarize it so that I can understand this within reading it within 15 minutes, and it
Right.
came out with all the points and everything along those lines. Then I started asking it questions. I asked it to then put in the financial projections. It then gave me some further prompts as well. I think that's what a lot of people need to understand. Read to the very end and listen to what it's saying for you to prompt next. And it said, do you want me to do a cash flow for you or a net operating expense spreadsheet? And we did all of these things. And essentially it netted out that it was going to make, maybe a 3 or 4% cap based on a risk perspective. We had to invest $4 million. And I'm like, this is just no. It's a simple. And within 15 to 20 minutes, I made a very clear cut decision of no, there's no point in us looking at this any further because it just wasn't good enough from a long-term perspective. And then it had a few risks in the build side of things. Now, and ChatGPT brought this up and I had an interview with the builder and it came up with a point. It says that the side of the property could have some settling issues because it's close to a waterway, which then creates insurance issues and da-da-da-da. And that was all prompted by ChatGPT. The agent hadn't mentioned it to us. The owner hadn't mentioned it to it, obviously. The builder, who is a third party trying to get our business and to do a quote, didn't even really understand it. And once he went back and had a look at it, ChatGPT picked that up. So from a data analysis perspective and what just I don't know what you call that. And again, I don't know, where you dump a report in and it can really summarize and you can absorb all of the important parts. To me, that is where the amazement comes to my mind.
Yeah, you have actually with that. I mean, that's an amazing story. And that's really shows the power of just like simply prompting it. If you were to drop it into a project folder, have like for your investments, it could actually compare and contrast multiple investments. And they just added in deep research, which allows you to then have it be a research and analyst and go and research all of the like everything that happens with that particular area, like kind deals. So that's kind of where it's at. And it's really just it's mind numbing that that we're there now.
Yeah.
Her thing was she asked me directly in real estate if I'm afraid of, because she's really afraid it's going to really impact her business, and they're forecasting it because she's an owner. And I sat there and I said, not really, no. What we do is very specialized in real estate. We have there's a certain band that will be affected, and I think it's already been affected. If you look at if anything like new homes, if there's an association, say with a large mortgage vendor, and they have their agents that work alongside them. But in general, if there's commission there, you're going to have very strong, experienced agents that tend to know their business in the areas. And one of the advantages we have in real estate in general is that it's all very unique. That's why new home works best for that. But with real estate, if you go across the street, God help you, especially when I talk to them, they don't understand it's like certain zip codes. You go across the street, you're not going to get the rents that you want to get. And I have to explain to them out and that kind of thing. But that's where the experience comes to it.
Well, I think that there's two more topics that I want to sort of bring up with you. First one is there's a great deal of PropTech startups within the AI space where people are trying to predict value of property. Now, we've already seen Zillow miserably fail at this through just a general algorithm over the last 10, 15 years. The Zestimate is just complete and utter crap.
They are still the gold standard, though.
Yeah, and again, I also have tried to do some predictive elements within property value as well. We're not using historical stuff. So it's pretty easy to go, hey, my property's worth X based on inflation or property growth over the last 30 years within the marketplace, predict how much the property will be worth in X amount of time, right? There's a standardization of that. It's like asking a financial planner. The other day, I was asking a financial planner, I'm like, from an investment perspective, if I was to invest $1 million, how would you invest it? He goes, put it into a dividend stock, get 3.5%, and then historically it'll grow about 8% every year. So then you could downsell about 4% of it and still have it grow 4%. I'm like, yeah, but hang on, that's over the last, how long are you saying for the last 8 years? Well, that's historically over the last 30. No, I'm talking about something that's guaranteed over the next 5 to 10. I'm not looking for that runway. And where I'm going with this, Tony, is that with the PropTech startups and AI, I looked through a list of them. And you can see it on Crunchbase if you've ever looked at it. It looks at all of the new venture fundings and everything like that. And most of the PropTech startups that are getting funding at the moment is all around predictive analytics around property prices or real estate prices.
Sure.
And I still don't trust the ability of even a realtor that understands the market intimately to do it, let alone all of the trending data stuff that looks at historical trends and blah, 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 blah. I just don't know that is the best use of people's money and time to do that. What are your thoughts?
Well, so that's the sexy thing, right? So we tell all of our agents, and whenever we go into a listing presentation, you know that Zestimate number because your clients know the Zestimate number. So that's the one thing that Zillow has done well and has done right is that it is a common theme. They own that space for valuations. So you do need to know that number. Now, I've worked for large banks. I was an REA broker for multiple states. We had our valuation engines. We're using auction as a method of an auctioneer. You're an auctioneer, and until those engines can get the smell of a house, or how it lays out, there's things that it's just that's why you have to go to the property to really fully experience it, understand it, and then at the same time. The level of expectation and, having those conversations with your clients on, yes, you did the rehab 10, 20 years ago, but right now it's not, we don't use that kind of
style,
stuff.
color schemes, all of those different things. And people think that that's only a factor of, $10,000 or $15,000. That's not the case. I'll give you an example of this. I dealt with a situation today where I got a phone call. We auctioned a property off that was in dire condition that you couldn't even get a loan on it. You had to only be a cash purchaser. So as you can appreciate, it was all investors. And we auctioned it off. It was in October or July last year. We sold it for $1.8 million. The developer or the investor has had the project going until now. They're just tired of the project. They put too much money into it, so on and so forth. They put $350,000 into it. So all in, they're in it for 2,150, right? Mm-hmm. Now, all of that logically makes sense that if they put 350 into it with new windows and so on and so forth. However, the things that they did, it still looks pretty shitty from the outside. It doesn't have a great curb appeal. The floor plan sucks, right? And also there's a part of this that I really don't believe that anybody can really predict unless understanding things on a deeper perspective. The reason that the marketplace was so strong for that property back in July of last year is because interest rates didn't have any bearing on it because it was an all cash purchase and we did an auction. We had 30 odd registered bidders. It was crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But then now, if you were to go over $3.5 million in a purchase, most of those people are putting between 40 and 60% down because they're selling something else that they have pretty good equity in order to purchase. But in that price point of 2 million to 2.3 million to 2.5 million, even to 3 million, most people are financing between 70 and 80% of that, which are being mostly affected by interest rates. So at the moment, because of interest rates, I would say that they're worse off trying to sell that property at that price point than being either an all cash or being a property that's a little bit more expensive because it's not as affected. So how do people predict that?
You can't, because I sat down with a client looking at a potential listing, and she was, and it needs a lot of work. And I explained to her, so okay, the value of it is this if you don't do anything. But she had a leak, and it was just we had this question, but so it says this on Zillow. I said, well, no, that's retail. And that's, within the scope, and it depends upon also interest rates too. So you have to, it's like a slice of, it's a moving target, and based upon your type of client, there's these factors that will play into the value of your property. And it took a while to explain it. I think she understood, but we'll see. But that's the thing, is that there's the value of a property. That's why I don't like to give the numbers I do give the numbers or close to Zestimate or what we have. So this is what the range would be, but really to understand it completely, let's take a look at it. And then we will know until we get it on the market to test to see how many bites we get from it. And once we get those bites, we'll see where they start to land, and we'll give you a really good idea of what's going on. This is all the marketing we're doing. So you'll know what the market says today, because that's the thing about all these models. These models are based upon historic, if you just look at all the macro, what's going on, it is completely different than it was last year. This is like unique. So and then look at pandemic, that threw everything off. Everyone was buying left and right. They're staying home. So you have to footnote that. So these models have to consider that in their projections.
Yeah. And it's such a deep rabbit hole because I start thinking about, like, let's say that you can use it from a prompting perspective to go, well, what was the average sale price? Or sorry, what was the average price reduction for a property that made a price reduction at this point in time, and it was this type of property, and it was
Right.
you could really game it to sort of get some really good information, but it all depends on a particular person at a particular time for a particular property at that particular moment, blah blah blah.
And locations, like where my house is a beautiful home. They had a massive tree where I have views, beautiful views. The reason why they had a massive tree that they cut down is because when they had the dump for LA, it was there. There's a massive dump. Used to be there back in the day, about 30
Right.
years ago. Now
Right.
it's a nice little arboretum or they call it. You go out there and go to nature. But back in the day, it was facing the dump. I mean, that's the view that my
Right.
house had, was a dump view. And way to take care of that, the guy had a massive tree to protect that. Because I was wondering, why would he have a tree? Because I saw all these stumps there. It's like, that's a great view. But then it's like, oh, the dump was there. That's why he had the
there
tree.
you go.
Yeah. So,
Well, mate, again, as things continue to get perfected, people need to be curious and looking at all the different tools that they can have. I think that people need to get a little bit more curious with uploading certain reports and asking deeper questions to understand those reports into ChatGPT. I think the imagery side of things is working for us as well. Make sure that it's not altering the actual look of the property if you're using it.
And disclose that too.
Yeah, that's right. And then also the video stuff, playing around with that, because not only is there the stuff from the faceless videos that you can do, it's also now other stuff that you could do from market updates and everything along those lines. It's getting vastly better. Well, Tony, I think that that's enough information to absorb.
Well, I got so much more.
Well, that's for the next episode.
All right, man.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. See you guys. Yeah.
So about 75% of our audience hasn't liked, followed, or subscribed to our podcast. It would mean the world to us, and it would help this podcast more than you know to expand our reach if you were to like, follow, or subscribe on any of the platforms that you're watching or listening on. Thanks again.